Mr. Kanuha, if you can please come forward. Council members, well, why don't we let Mr. Kanuha introduce himself, say a few words, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Good morning, aloha.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. My name is Duane Kanuha, Planning Director designee. I sat through most of the previous portion of your meeting, heard some of the testimony, and some of it I've never heard before. I've never heard that story from Aaron before. And I think to add to that, the way I recall that meeting was after. Sure. Okay. Go ahead.
Apologize.
Anyway, when Aaron had to give the advice that he felt he had to give at that particular meeting, the rest of the commission turned to me as the director. I forget whether I was the director or the deputy at that time. And they asked me what my opinion was. And the issue here was there was a request for a contested case to intervene as a party. And so, based on the initial read they got from Mr. Chung, the commission asked me what my opinion was. And I told the commission that based on the law at that time, if there was any doubt, they should let them in. And they said, thank you very much, and they went and approved the permit. Long story short, what happened was, there was litigation and everything, and it ended up that they should have let that particular party in. I've been doing this kind of work, and actually, I started out, as you can see from my resume, as a contract planner for the planning department in 1975. I was there till 1984, then I came back in 1988 to 1990 as director. And when this opportunity to join Mayor Kim Noy's cabinet in his last term came along, I thought to myself, it was one of these unique opportunities where you get to circle back in your career to where you began, and perhaps take a look at things that you did that maybe you shouldn't have done, things that you did that you could have done better, and things that maybe you shouldn't have done that you should have. And that opportunity was quite interesting to me, which is why I decided to accept, Mr. Mayor Kinoy's appointment for this particular job. I've been on the job for a month now, and it's been quite interesting to say the least. I look forward to working with all of you in trying to see how we can work together. The charter is real clear, yeah? I advise the mayor, I advise the council. And that's kind of my approach. Like I said, I've been doing this for so long that it's, I'm very comfortable with doing whatever I need to do. That's about all I have to offer. I'd be open to any questions anybody may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kanuha. Mr. Kanuha, Councilman Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to state to the council and to the public that I'll be withholding comments on your appointment and recusing myself on the vote based off of the fact that we may be related and the perception with this, we have the same last name. So I'll be recusing myself, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Eoff.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chung, and thank you, Mr. Kanuha, for reminding us, or me especially, about what happened at that hearing back in 80-something. because I was there and I never knew that part of the story. So I really thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate your openness and your open-mindedness, and I look forward to working with you. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Eoff. Mr. Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, thank you for your willingness to serve. It's great, as Mayor Kanuha says, it's about getting the best people to do the job. And obviously with your wealth of experience in government as well as private, it gives you that unique perspective to see all sides of it. And I really appreciate that. It's really important for me because something that's really near and dear to my heart is balance. And in my conversations with you, it feels like you're on the same page of finding that balance and creating that balance and just doing what's right, not what's politically driven, but what's going to make sense for our community here, our home. And it's clear that you have a very vested interest here. This is your home. It's our home. And I really support you. I look forward to working with you. I thank you for your willingness to serve again. And really happy to have somebody with your caliber taking over an amazing department that has had a great director this time. I see that department working so good. So you get to come into a well-oiled machine, if you will, and just hit the ground running. And it must be a good feeling in that way.
Yeah, no doubt. They got a bunch of great people in there.
Absolutely. So thank you again, and I absolutely support you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kern. Any other comments from council members? Ms. Ford?
Mr. Kanuha, I have to say you seem like a genuinely very, very nice person. And that's reflected in a lot of the testimony that we got. There's no doubt in my mind you have the qualifications for the job. Not a doubt in my mind. But I have a concern. And the concern is that, and I had this concern before I received testimony, I did some research on you. And your background outside of the county has been almost exclusively, with only maybe one exception, development. And the west side of the island has been suffering under at least 18 years of poor decisions regarding development. We have lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit based on decisions that are being made. And when I came in, I was very concerned about that. So when I came in, I read the testimony this morning, and it's the vast majority of the testimony is from developers, attorneys for developers, consultants for developers, and people related to the development. And I want to tell you right now, some people will not believe this, I'm not opposed to development. We do need development on the island, but we need what I would call smart development. I haven't seen that in this county since I landed here. And so I am really concerned about your ties to the development industry, shall we say, for West Hawaii. Somebody mentioned the lack of Malcolm Mackay connectors in Kona. We're just barely getting the first one. I worked on this for 3 to 4 years before I came on the council. I worked on it for 6 years on the council. And we just had the blessing, less than a month ago, less than 2 weeks ago, something like that. The first Malcolm Mackay connector in probably 40 or 50 years. And we need several more, and they're all sitting on the shelf in different departments around the county. So I would like you to comment on the development links that you have, because really I am extremely, extremely worried about the situation. So if you have a comment.
I agree. That's a real valid concern, but I've been in, government, which deals with landowners, developers all the time. I've been in various roles with the state of Hawaii, either with the Department of Land and Natural Resources as a land agent, and I served 7 years on the State Land Use Commission. Those entities deal with, landowners, developers, etc. In my time as a representative for a landowner, 2 landowners actually, Hamakua Sugar and up in Kohala. Those were not necessarily dealing with developers per se. I mean, those entities were developers or in that particular business to begin with. So, that's my record. That's where I've been. I think, actually, I know that because I know most of the people in the development industry throughout the state, they know me as well, that I think I have just as much an ability, as anyone else to, and having been on that side of the fence as well, to take what I need to do for our community and put that as a higher priority. And I think that familiarity allows me the ability to negotiate what I have to negotiate, not negotiate what I don't feel we have to negotiate in behalf of our county. So, that's about all I can say for that.
All right, Mr. Kanuha, what would you do differently this time as planning director that you maybe didn't do the last time?
Let's see. That's an interesting question. Let me say that from a planning perspective, I've been involved with, general plan review, those kinds of things. And I think back in the day, we always wondered how these community development plans were going to fit, into the whole scheme. We knew how they fit. We weren't really sure how they were going to be implemented. I think if you go back and look at the first round of early development plans, you're going to see that some of them were enacted by ordinance. Most of them were enacted by resolutions. Fast forward to today, and I see where the community development plans are, how advanced they are, and how they've been structured to be implemented. To me, it's an interesting concept because we never thought about it in that depth back then. I'm not saying that it's something that I would have thought about. It's almost kind of an afterthought. It's there. I think that's something that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to revisit, and if I wasn't doing something like this. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking back to major land use decisions that I was involved with throughout my career in the county. What would I take back? I can't think of anything, right offhand now.
All right, one of the problems that we're having is we have not well defined what is important ag lands in this county. It's been going on for years. The state isn't going to do it. We're going to have to do it. What is your position on getting your department to identify important ag lands, and what would you define important ag lands as being?
Well, I think in the last round of the general plan, they added a new designation for these important ag lands. So that's there. The implementation part I think is reflective of once they're identified.
That's the problem. They're not identified.
Well, they're identified on the general plan. Okay, so it's to translate those into how you interpret where they are, when folks come in for subdivisions or, development projects or things like that. From my experience on the Land Use Commission, on the other hand, during my tenure there, we placed many thousands of acres into that land use category that was provided by statute. There were certain incentives for landowners to do that. I wasn't really sure whether or not that would, take off, but it did. There's huge tracts on Kauai, Maui in particular, where landowners have, dedicated those properties as important ag lands. The carrot to those designations was ability to, and there's a formula, I don't know exactly what the formula is now, but to allow development on other land holdings that they had. Every single one of those petitioners waived forever that ability to do that. So they just didn't see the quid pro quo as being worthwhile. The whole concept was for that designation to go through, no strings attached. I think I see where you're leaning at with your question, and I agree. It's it's something that's been on the books for a long while.
All right, Mr. Kanuha, I know you're going to be confirmed today, so, and I'll be one of the people who congratulate you. I have exactly the same concerns, though, that I came in with. I'm not going to vote yes, I'm going to vote no, but I'm praying that I am wrong. I really am. I like to be wrong sometimes, and this is one of the cases that I want to be wrong, and I'd be just thrilled to be able to say that again at some point in the future. So thank you for your time and your willingness to serve.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ford. Any other discussion, council members? Mr. Iligan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Interim Director Kanuha. It's a pleasure of mine to confirm candidates who have, especially in their appointed field, that has so much experience, especially more than I've been born. And I just want to say, I have questions too, like Councilmember Ford. And I know for a fact that you have driven around Puna and you have seen the needs that could be improved there. I just want to know what you see for planning for that district.
As I indicated earlier, I know Puna, has a community development plan, which is, this next level of planning that we look at that's below the general plan. I know they've been working on, some urban area planning. I think it's from a planning standpoint that Puna is still a work in progress, but that initiation has been made, and I think it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some collaboration with other agencies. It's gonna take some collaboration with getting some, CIP monies assigned so that infrastructure facility things can be incorporated in that whole mix. I'd give it some time. I think it's on the way. It's on the right track, I would think. Yeah.
I believe there is one CIP that Councilmember Kern, I believe, brought it up before council, and the council approved it. And it talks about an infrastructure plan for Puna. And is that something that you would support for implementation?
Oh, sure. That's the key. That's the real key. It's not that difficult to put those programs together. The difficult part is finding the funding to actually make them go. And the concerns you have for, Puna are the same concerns that, Drew and Brenda have for Kona, and Karen and Margaret have for, Waimea and North Kohala, and Valerie for Hamakua. So it's that, how do you generate enough? So, obviously that's your role as a council to prioritize where that money goes for your expenditure, yeah.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. And I like Councilmember Kanuha, so you're also a Kanuha. So I totally support you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Poindexter.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm very optimistic, and I am so looking forward to working with you, so I am supporting your,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Willie.
Hi, Duane. I appreciated your being here yesterday when we were discussing the PUD's plan unit developments and the CDPs. And I'm probably just going to go with my gut and be supportive of you and be optimistic and hope. Let me just say, I did get emails from people in North Kohala expressing their concern. Some very concerned, just in terms of, I don't know exactly how many years ago, but in terms of your role as planning director and then representing surety and then sort of close movement in between there. But I felt that you were open to the CDPs, and I think, just so you understand, I mean, and I was on one of the South Kohala CDP steering committee, as that right now, there's really only county government. You know, there's no villages, towns, and the CDPs gave a level where the people could interface with the community. And a way to sort of have a collective voice, and yet we have felt sort of shut down. I tried to memorialize the CDPs and the Action Committee in the county charter. I worked hard. It was the planning department that blocked that and lost the one last vote that we needed. I mean, we didn't get it. And in fact, well, anyway, but it was blocked. I didn't feel there was the openness. And so I do feel people having an informed public. I think the phenomenal testimony we have here, it's extraordinary, the knowledge. And if all of those I mean, my brother, I think, Gene McCain, was up working with you there and that, and feel, okay, this is a really good guy, you know. But it's the people that sort of come that don't know how to get to your door, you know, how do they speak? And a lot of people dropped off the CDP action committees because they felt so discouraged, and that it was talking to the hand. You know, this is discretionary. You know, I can listen or don't. But so I don't know whether you've read the Missler decision, Judge Ibarra's decision, and the Kauai Springs case, stressing the importance of the public trust and the precautionary principle, and that really saying our environmental issues are even more catastrophic than we were aware of, you know, and so I just we're all looking at economic development and short-term economic development, but that in the long-term economic well-being is really tied to cultural and environmental well-being. So I am going to support you, and I will come knocking on your door. I hope you, in fact, have an open door policy and try to build up trust and confidence in terms of this process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Willie. Mr. Onishi.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kanuha.
Morning.
You got my support, and I look forward working with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion from council members? If not, I'm going to close discussion and make just a brief comment. Hearing or seeing no comment. Mr. Kanuha, you have my support. Thank you for your willingness to serve, and we look forward to working with you. Okay, Mr. Clerk?
Thank you.
The vote?
Ms. Ia.
Aye.
Ms. Ford.
No.
Mr. Iligan.
Aye.
Mr. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi. Aye. Ms. Poindexter.
Aye.
Ms. Willie.
Aye.
Chair Yoshimoto.
Aye.
Chair Yoshimoto. You have 7 ayes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. So the appointment of Mr. Kanuha is confirmed. Thank you very much. If we could take a brief recess.
Yeah.
5-hour recess.
Okay, thank you, council members. We're back in session.